Hello everyone, Coming Clean here. Playing the Skylanders games is great fun, but we can't deny that collecting the figures is part of the experience. I am suspecting that a lot of gamers are deterred from getting into the franchise because of the sheer amount of stuff you have to collect. I therefore thought it would be a good idea to make a video about what I think you should think about when starting your Skylanders collection. I hope you enjoy it. If you have followed my channel for a while, you know that I have made similar videos, and if you've heard some of the tips in this video before, it is because they easily apply to several different topics. If you find this video helpful and want to hear more about what I have to say about the Skylanders games, I'm linking a couple of more hopefully helpful videos in the description. A very informative website is called SkylandersCharacterList.com, where you will find loads of information. Link is also in the description. Now let's talk about what to think about when you start your Skylanders collection. The first thing you should do is to decide which of the 6 games you want to buy. Your answer might be all of them, and that is of course totally fine. People who are interested in Skylanders are probably also, at least in part, compulsive collectors. But keep in mind that even though the story ties together between all the games, you will definitely not be confused regardless of where you start. Even though they are great games, it might not be necessary to buy, for example, a used Xbox 360 for the sole purpose of playing Skylanders Spyro's Adventure or Skylanders Giants. If all you own is a PS4, you will be just fine starting off with Superchargers, which is also relatively cheap, just to see what the games are about. The next thing you should do is to determine which Skylanders works for your selected games and which of them you want to buy. In short, all Skylanders are forwards but not backwards compatible, with some exceptions. But note that Skylanders from older games are generally nerfed quite significantly in newer games and sometimes not that enjoyable to play with. You can of course counter this by leveling them up and altering the difficulty setting, but generally, Skylanders that was made for the particular game you want to play is probably your best bet. And how do you know which Skylanders was released for which game? There are a few exceptions to this rule, but the color or shape of the base of the figure will tell you which game they belong to. Also, be aware that collecting what you need to complete certain games to 100% will be very expensive. Do some research on the used market and various sites that sell Skylanders before fully committing, so you are certain that you can keep your predetermined budget. What you should also research is individual characters to find out which ones you think you'll like the most. All Skylanders offer a vast amount of different playstyles, and all characters don't suit all players. For example, to complete many of the games to 100%, you will need a Skylander from each element. If you don't want to spend too much money or simply want to limit the amount of plastic toys in your home, it's a great idea to watch some gameplay to help you decide which ones you like the most. This tip can really be a necessity in Imaginators, where senseis with very few exceptions cost quite a lot. I did a video dedicated to the topic of what you should buy for each of the games. You'll find a link on this card and also in the description in case you want to check it out when you're done with this one. Moving on to the next tip. When starting your Skylanders collection, you're probably best off trying to buy a bulk of figures and games. There are plenty of people selling their entire, or at least most of their collection. Buying any of these packs will most likely give you the best value for your money. You might even get super lucky and stumble upon a couple of parents who want to sell their teenagers plastic toys that they haven't touched in 8 years for a fraction of what they're actually worth. While I do want to emphasize that you should not try to hustle people when neither buying nor selling Skylanders, it is ultimately up to the seller to keep track of their product's current market value. In my experience, most sellers are very well aware of what their Skylanders are worth, and really good deals are hard to come by, but it does happen. After doing some inventorying of the bulk that you bought, you can then scour the used market for the figures you want that you are still missing. Where to look for them will likely vary greatly depending on where you live, but I recommend checking out thrift stores, local online used markets, and eBay seem to be a common place to hunt for Skylanders from a global perspective. I have one last tip, that is that you should look for reposes. A repose is a newer version of a Skylander that was released for a previous game. The first versions of reposes simply had an altered stance for the physical figure and a new ability in-game, but the latter versions released for Swap Force and Trap Team had a quite significant new look for the figure that also transferred into the game. Check out YouTuber KRYPT video about reposes and he will tell you everything you need to know. Link is in the description. In my opinion though, the best part about reposes is that they are backwards compatible and they will appear as their previous version in games that came before the game where the repos was introduced. If I, for example, put my Reposes introduced in Swap Force on the portal when I'm playing Swap Force, they will feature their new abilities and also their new look in-game if they are fully upgraded. But when I switch to the first game, Spyro's Adventure, and put them on the portal, they will appear as their original counterpart. Because of this, the Reposes give you several versions of the same character, and you can save a lot of time and money by hunting for them specifically. There are of course some benefits of owning several versions of the same character, having 2 fully leveled characters on different upgrade paths for example, but if you want to save some space and money, Reposes is the way to go. That was all the tips I had for you today. Check out the links in the description for more helpful videos, and feel free to leave a comment with your favorite Skylanders collecting tip. Also, consider subscribing for weekly gaming content. That is however it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Coming Clean, and I will see you next time. Take care!